The second wave of COVID-19 is ebbing. The signs of normalcy are already here, and the Workforce and Increments Trends Survey by Deloitte sees an average increment of 8% this year. To decode the trends in the job market, joining us now on ET Now is Mr. Anubhav Gupta. He's the partner at Deloitte. Mr. Gupta, appreciate you taking your time out and speaking with us today at ET Now. This is Ruchi, Bhatia. So we're talking about an 8% salary hike for the current year and 8.6 for the next year. I want to first begin by asking you, should we look at it as a glass half empty or half full? Because given the fact that we're still pretty far off from a double-digit increment coming in on an average basis for various sectors.
Thanks, Ruchi, for having me here. And I would say that we should look forward to positive things going forward, because if we look at 2020, moving on from 2019, where the salary increases were at around 8.5%, 8.6% level. The moment COVID hit us, it went down to 4.4%, when we talk about 2020. And just before the second wave, we saw a little bit of comeback that happened in the market. Salary increases went up to around 8% in 2021. And now, as the sentiments are improving, companies are looking at 8.6% in 2022. We'll just say that it's a little early to be very confident about these numbers, because third wave has not gone away. The fear is still looming, but we are hoping for the best. But this is directionally what it is looking like as of now.
All right, directionally, it's looking that things are looking to be better for the job market. Having said that, Mr. Gupta, if you can help us understand which are the sectors that are, of course, leading in terms of average increments and the ones which are trailing, because the sense that we get so far is that a lot of contact-intensive sectors, for example, tourism, hospitality, they're still reeling under the impact of COVID-19.
Oh, absolutely, Ruchi. And, if you divide the industry into various sub-industries, you will see that sectors like technology right now are at the forefront as far as the salary increases are concerned, because every company is moving onto a digital footprint now. Every company wants to be a technology company, and that talent is in a lot of demand. And that is kind of reflecting in the salary increases as well. And within the technology sector, if you look at very specific aspects like e-commerce or digital organizations, there you will see double-digit increases, in 2022. We also have sectors like life sciences and consumer, where traditionally you have seen increases to be on the higher end. So that continues to be the case. And as you rightly said, there are some sectors which are trailing right now. While we are seeing a little bit of comeback as the sentiment improves, sectors like hospitality, like retail, like real estate, they are still lagging. But we expect that as the unwind happens, as the lockdown goes away, these sectors will also fall back to what the 2020 levels were, around 7 to 8%.
Right. Mr. Gupta, they say in the war for talent these days, engineer seems to be the king. And while IT companies are facing a lot of churn, we're seeing startups, on the other hand, trying to woo engineers by offering them iPads, iPhones, motorbikes. I want to understand from you, who is really going to win this war for talent between IT companies and startups?
Yeah. So from career perspective, Ruchi, one has to look at from the long term, right? So individuals join companies to build a long-term career. So while the short-term fills may help some organizations to attract the talent in the short term, but employees generally sees what is the opportunity that the organization provides to grow, over a very long period, as the career grows. So that becomes very, very critical, right? And the second important aspect when we talk about startups is it's not just salary increase, but also the wealth creation opportunity that some of these companies provide through equity-linked incentives, etc., are also substantial compared to some of the traditional sectors. So that is also something which attracts a lot of talent to these sectors from wealth creation standpoint.
Could this then mean, sir, that we will see a big time churn coming in for some of the IT companies? Because the fact that you spoke about wealth creation, a lot of these offers being doled out by startups as well, could mean that we will see a wage inflation hike for some of the IT companies and a lot of churn in terms of talent moving away from IT to e-commerce.
It is already happening, Ruchi, if you see, and as I spoke about, when you look at the technology sector, we are talking about the highest wage inflation. This is the only sector which is talking about a double-digit increase in 2022. There were an announcement by one of the IT services company recently where they have enhanced their ESOP pool to include more employees at the middle management level into the program. This is all to compete with the startups, and to give the same kind of monetary benefit that startups are trying to offer to potential candidates.
Mr. Gupta, I also want to understand from you at a time like this, in your survey, what have you found out in terms of skills that are being looked at, are wanted the most by employers?
See, those skills are primarily on the technology side. So if you look at some of the newest technologies, especially when we talk about digital footprint, when we talk about services like cloud, when we talk about services like machine learning, artificial intelligence. Now, these are the kind of skills which are most wanted right now in every industry. So irrespective of whether you are in a consumer sector or whether you're in a financial services sector, these are most sought after skills right now. And hence, you will see this kind of a premium being paid out to employees. So, there is 30 to 40% increment, even more than that some companies offer to get a right candidate on board if they have the right skills.
Before I let you go, sir, I also have to ask you, as far as the future of work is concerned, while many companies are adopting a more hybrid model, on the other hand, we're looking at other companies telling their employees, and now that you're vaccinated, you need to come back to office. What is the future of work really going to be?
So, Ruchi, we believe that the hybrid model is here to stay. How much this gets adopted will vary from industry to industry and from company to company. What we clearly see is that there will be three sets of employees. One set of employees where companies will say that these functions necessarily will have to come to office. So, for example, when we talk about things like production, you can't do that sitting from home. So you necessarily have to come back to office. Then there will be certain functions where companies will say it's okay to work from home for a couple of days in a week, but for 3 days you have to show up in the office just to ensure that the productivity levels are maintained. And the third set of functions will be where companies say it's okay to work either from office or from home. So companies who are able to identify these three set of employees in these three set of functions will strive towards providing that kind of an infrastructure. So our opinion is that this model is here to stay, albeit the adoption will vary from company to company and from industry to industry.
Given the fact that, Mr. Gupta, you did say that the future of work seems to be a more hybrid one, what are the kind of technologies or investments that you see companies need to do to ensure that they're not even able to, retain talent, but also make sure that they have a conducive hybrid work environment that they can give to their employees?
Ruchi, so for a hybrid model to work, we need to ensure that the right kind of infrastructure is being provided to employees who decide to work from home. Now, what has happened in the time of pandemic is some employees have gone back to their hometowns where, in smaller cities, the infrastructure is not as good. You have, various connectivity issues, you have bandwidth issues, etc., etc. So there is a lot of investment which will be required from companies to give that kind of an infrastructure to employees for them to work on their peak productivity. The second important area, and especially true for technology companies, is data security, right? So as employees work from home, there is a lot of investment which is going to go into ensuring that the data is secured, because some of our global clients would ask for that kind of an infrastructure from their service providers. So these are the two areas where we believe that a lot of investment will go into.
Okay, all right. On that note, Mr. Gupta, appreciate you taking your time out and speaking with us today at ET Now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.